Hey, hola, bom dia. Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream with Expats Portugal. We are a YouTube channel and a podcast as well. I think today we'll see our 400th episode on the podcast. So I'm really pleased with that achievement. And that means we're spreading the good news about Portugal all over the world via the podcast and have been doing so for 2.5 years now. This live stream, a later development, which I'm also really enjoying. Loving your company every day. What day is it today? This is a new feature. Quite simple, but it should help with all those little bits of vocabulary that add up to you grasping and mastering. Well, will we ever master Portuguese? I don't know. That's quite a good aspiration, isn't it? But certainly we can make a good start with a little bit of help, such as knowing the day of the week is a good start in life, isn't it? Quarta-feira, dia 14 de outubro. So 14th of October today. Quarta-feira, the fourth day of the week. Today. Wednesday is the fourth day, quinta, fifth day tomorrow, sexta, Friday, sábado, Saturday. We will get that into your subconscious. You may come from a culture, of course, where Monday is regarded as the first day of the week. That's the Protestant work ethic there for you. Question on the screen as well. What were egg whites traditionally used for? A friend of mine in the UK reminded me about this. It's to do with pastries, and I'm going to tell you about a couple of, I was going to say Australian, why would I say that? I was going to tell you about a couple of Portuguese pastries today and the connection between egg whites, egg yolks, and Portuguese pastries and how that all came about. And I'm not yoking. Hey, thank you. Dad jokes most welcome here, as you know, if you've watched this at all. And now we go to the weather. We'll come back to the eggy business, that excellent feature, a little bit later on. They're gonna flow fast and free this morning, aren't they? The egg jokes, or is a nerf already? I'm enjoying it. Bon dia from Julia. Good morning to you, Julia. Great to hear from you this morning. Will Thompson, hello, mate. A very exciting project that Will's working on. I don't know if you're aware of that. Will, great friend of the show and very excited about a new project that he's working on. He's asked me to help out. So I am very excited to be part of it, Will. Thank you very much for asking me. When can we talk about it, mister? Hola, bon dia from a sunny and very calm south coast of England. It's D-Day for us. And by that, Paul means they are leaving for Portugal. And I think we just need to make some sort of, I don't know, we need a meme or a graphic, don't we, to support and applaud anyone who's coming this way, to give them a sort of, I don't know, pipe them aboard in some way. Be pretty awesome. Have a great journey, Paul. Enjoy every minute of your journey. It's a very special thing that you're doing. And so, yes, I wish you a bon voyage, boa viage, as we say in Portugal, and look forward to clinking a cold sagres with you. That's not super rubbish. Sorry. I'm not saying super bock is rubbish. I just have a preference for sagres and hope to be clanking and clinking a cold glass or bottle with you one of these days soon. So have a great journey and congratulations to you. Fantastic news. Druba, nice to have a bit of correspondence with you this morning. Great achievement, Carl. Thank you, Druba. Druba, I think referring to the 400th podcast, which this show will be. Actually, this will be the 400th podcast edition today. Catch that on Spotify. Thanks, Druba. And a great achievement to you, my friend, as well, with all that you've done over there in Sintra. And we'll be talking to Druba. Some of you who've been watching for a while will know that Druba is a grower in Sintra, a lovely family homestead in Sintra. Settled over there and has an amazing Garden of Eden in Sintra. And hopefully we'll talk about that with him live and direct on the show next week. So really looking forward to you, Druba, and congratulations to you on all you've achieved here in Portugal as well. Stephen Clare, good morning. Hola, bon dia, Carl. Still stuck in cold but sunny Manchester this morning. Makes a change from the rain. They're having a bit of a party, weren't they, over your way? I know Liverpool is not Manchester, but it's closer to you than it is to me. Those rascals were out and about on the streets last night, weren't they? Last night of revelry before the lockdown. What is going on, eh? Bon dia, my dear, from Sean Maguire in Pedragon, Paquino. Good morning to you. And we will come back to that, Will. Fantastic. Let's just have a quick look at the news first. Will has an announcement, everybody, which could be very important for the Portuguese economy, for one thing, and a lot of fun, as I've understood it so far. So let me just very briefly look at the weather around the country this morning. Do tell me where you are as well, what it's like this morning, and news to come. It's the end, it would appear. I mean, I've heard this before, actually, but we hear another news article about the unfair ISV tax on imported used cars to be scrapped. Maybe it will happen this time. And train ticket prices have been slashed. I'm going to tell you about that as well. CP have got some real bargains for traveling around the country. Want to share that with you too. Okay, Lisbon, 14 degrees. Partly cloudy at the moment, but it's going to go to 21 today, 21 today, and 21 tomorrow, and 21 the day after. Cloud coming only at the weekend. 3 glorious days in Lisbon to enjoy ahead of you. The high of 21, low of 12. Yes, that differential kicking in as autumn shows its face. Porto, 12 degrees and partly cloudy at the moment. Similar picture, not quite as warm as you might expect in Porto for the next 3 days, but 18 degrees day after day, and a low of 8. My goodness, yes, autumn temperatures at night. Coimbra, 10 degrees and partly cloudy, 20 degrees the high today, and 20 tomorrow, and 22 on Friday. Nice Friday. That'll be cool, going down to O Carlos, our local cafe, as we sometimes do on a Friday afternoon. 22 degrees, possibly to enjoy, so we can still sit out in the garden. Even at the moment, though, the Portuguese are looking at us thinking, why would those crazy English people want to sit out in the garden? But 10 degrees currently and partly cloudy. Coimbra, it's going to brighten up. Faro, 14 degrees and clear at the moment. 24 the high to look forward to there today in Faro. 22 tomorrow, 21 on Friday, and a lovely weekend, actually. The rest of the country, cloudy, possibly rainy, although that seems to have... No, the rain's been pushed, kicked down the street to next week, but no rain in Faro, and a lovely weekend, 20 and 22 respectively on Saturday and Sunday. Cloudy day on Monday forecast, but looking like a lovely few days in Faro, as we are accustomed to when we look at the Faro weather. Anyone in Faro this morning? Give us a shout. So this news then from Will, and this is exciting stuff. Will, great friend of the show, and we feel a great friend of Will's. Carl, I'm ready to introduce the board game me and the young girl from the cafe created this week. So feel free to tell folks what I've been doing, and we can set a date for a chat later in the week. Any homeschoolers or language teachers would be interested running up to Halloween. He's a teaser, isn't he? But that sounds great. Any day. You and Druba next week, you choose your days, and I'll be delighted to talk to you. Sounds very exciting. I'm very interested from the point of view of how there may be some sort of regenerative capacity, potential in this game to get people connected. You know, I'm all about social capital when you come to Portugal. Get to know local people, make yourself part of the community. Looks like this game may be a really good way of doing that. Ferry, thanks, Will. Yeah, let's talk next week. Ferry. Happy birthday to you. Parabéns. Parabéns a você. Parabéns a você. I don't know the rest of the song in Portuguese, but happy birthday to you. Ferry Westphal in Castanheira da Pera. Cliff Richard's birthday today. But neither of you... Oh, yeah, he's still a bachelor boy, isn't he? But you're not. How's it going with those Bordeaux tiles of yours? That was hilarious. Thank you for sharing that with us in the Expat Man Cave yesterday. Cliff Richard's birthday today, and less important, but not to me. Mine too. So, yes, happy birthday to you, Ferry. Please, everyone, do wish Ferry a happy birthday. He's a great part of the expat community here in Portugal. And a lovely message from Donna Jacqueline, who I was with last night on the Portuguese Positive News version of the Portugal show. Goes out at 10 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And on Tuesdays, we like to focus on positive news. We were a little bit distracted from the positive news. We were talking again, as we do, a lot about faith and religion and the G word, God. You know, where else do you talk about faith in the mainstream? I mean, people just don't. I mean, and Jacqueline and I talked about this last night. You know, faith is a very personal matter, isn't it? So it's understandable why people don't like to talk about it. But it's also a funny thing how, you know, when people do get so much from their faith and their spirituality, and in times of such challenge, we're not considering it and having conversations more about that. You know, what is it that makes people happy? What is it that helps people be free of their unhappiness? Why wouldn't we talk about that? Funny stuff, but we do talk about it on a Tuesday night. And I love this message from Jacqueline this morning. Portugal smells like parts of Australia. That'll be the eucalyptus, mate, won't it? I think it's the eucalyptus probably that you can smell. What else? What other smells might there be that Australia and Portugal have in common? It won't be the bacalhau, I don't think, wafting in the air, or the barbecue. It will be the barbecue. Of course, it will be the barbecue smell as well. But I associate Portugal with the smell of barbecued pork and chicken. I'm thinking more in on the barbies of Australia. It's more like prawns and burgers, isn't it, and beef. But anyway, tell us more, Jacqueline. Great to hear from you. And thank you for your lovely message this morning. Marvelous. Absolutely disgraceful. That's not about the podcast, is it? That's about the Scousers being out on the streets last night. Absolutely disgraceful. Is it message from Manchester to you lot? Frank says, Bon dia a todos. A very simple and restrained bon dia a todos. Frank and wife Rachel are leading the wine club tasting tomorrow night. Very nice looking bottle of Alantasian white tomorrow evening. Single grape white wine. Classy stuff. Available from Continent. Go to our Good Morning Portugal Wine Club community group on Facebook to find out where to get that wine from and actually what wine it is. And we look forward to having fun with you tasting that tomorrow night. It's like Gogglebox with wine, and it will follow. Let me just share this with you, actually. Thanks for that prompt there, Frank. It will follow the webinar tomorrow night. So glad you mentioned it, Frank, what I'm doing tomorrow night. Tomorrow evening, our Portugal calling webinar, expatsportugal.com. So you found your dream home in Portugal. What now? Now what? Understanding the legalities of purchasing property in Portugal. That's tomorrow night with our friend Daniel Reis from Reis and Pelicano, the law firm, international law firm, who will take us through the legalities of purchasing property in Portugal. So it's an RSVP. It is free. The premium members of Expats Portugal do get the first shout on the tickets, understandably, but anyone can sign up for expatsportugal.com, and it's only 25 euros for a big value package of benefits that you get when you sign up for 25 euros, including some discounts off those aforementioned legal fees there. So you get a lot of bang for your buck with your 25 euros, and you're first in the queue for those webinars. So looking forward to speaking to Daniel again there tomorrow night on the webinar. Yes, it is eucalyptus, isn't it, that we can smell. I didn't realize you spent time in Australia too. Jacqueline is full of wonderful surprises about her past life, her life experience. It's amazing. It's lovely to talk to her on a Tuesday evening and get the unique perspective of our resident elder expat elder. I don't know which way around that should be. Our resident expat elder. And I do hope she doesn't mind me referring to her as that. We need elders we can trust and who will warm our hearts, and she does that every Tuesday evening. Maxine, a name I don't recognize, listening from Pera in the Algarve. Yes, another Pera. Please say an early happy birthday to hubby Justin Wright. You got it. I feel like a proper radio DJ now. Thank you, Maxine, for the opportunity to do that and to say an early happy birthday to Justin Wright. Good morning to you. How early exactly, Maxine? It's not like in January or something like that, is it? Let us know. Let us know how old he is and when his birthday is, if you wish. Tony, good morning, Tony. Hi there. Love to know when and if the car tax is proposed to be scrapped. Yeah, I'll get around to that in just a moment, Tony. Thank you for that prompt. Hi there from Val Judeur near Villamora. Good morning to you, Tony. Great to hear from you. Kevin Hall, good morning from sunny Fuseta near Faro. It's a beautiful sunny morning here. Thank you, Kevin, for letting us know. I do love your profile pic. Happy birthday to Ferry today from Pete in Castanera de Pera and all other listeners who have their birthday today. Maybe birthday wishes could become a thing on here. Yes, and I promise not to sing Parabéns a você every time it's somebody's birthday. Hola, bon dia, Joe Johnson. How you doing? Where are you this morning, you globetrotter? And here we go in Dutch. Gelukkige verjaardag, Ferry. En wens de klief ook in gelukkige verjaardag. I think I did pretty well, though. I'm impressed myself anyway. Thank you for that, Jani. We're going with Jani for the time being. The only smell I associate with Portugal, says Ty this morning, is the wood burner when the weather turns colder. And that is a lovely smell. Absolutely. One of the smells of Portugal. Absolutely. Sander, good morning to you. What time is it? Is it 2 a.m. for you in Texas? Good morning, all y'all. Yes, thank you. That is commitment indeed from American listener Xander. It must be very early in the morning where you are. Neil Perkins, bon dia from sleepy Alentejo. Oh, I feel that vibe. I'm feeling that vibe, Neil. Bon dia from Miguel from San Pedro de Moel. Loving all these shout outs in the morning. Absolutely wonderful. Maxine, it's actually on Saturday. Oh, excellent news. Okay. So happy birthday to Justin Wright for Saturday. Maybe too busy drinking champagne for breakfast to remember to ask for a request. Very good. And you can spin it out on the replay if you so wish. Happy birthday, Justin, and have a great day on Saturday. Still in sunny Leicestershire. So it's sunny in Leicestershire, is it? Or is that just tourist propaganda? I do know Leicestershire a little bit, and it is beautiful. The countryside of Leicestershire is absolutely lovely and a little bit underrated, I would say. All right, quick sip of tea. Excuse me for a moment. Ooh, lovely. Little English breakfast, and I've got used to UHT milk now. Okay. And before we go to these lovely stories we've got for you this morning, good news. Hola from Villa de Rey from Owen. Hello, mate. How are you? Great to hear from you. Always great to hear from you, Owen. Rightio, let's have a look then at the long-awaited news about the and we'll find out really if it's actually going to happen. We've seen this puffed before us in the news, haven't we? But according to the Portugal resident, unfair ISV tax on imported used cars to be scrapped, and they are making reference to the sort of highs and lows of this event previously, I think, with finally in brackets the unfair ISV taxation formula penalising anyone. And penalise it does. Anyone trying to import a used car into Portugal is finally going to be scrapped after numerous cases in which victims have taken Portugal to court and won, and after relentless pressure from Brussels. I wonder what that feels like, relentless pressure from Brussels. The government has seen the light. In inverted commas, the ISV taxation formula has doggedly refused to fully take into account a vehicle's age, meaning import duty invariably ends up much more expensive than it would be in any other member state. Brussels has threatened legal action, while dozens of private citizens have gone through with it, to the point that there is no escape. Yeah. Says Negocios Online, the business paper, presumably of Portugal, the upcoming state budget proposes altering the calculation formula to fall in line with EU policy. It's a move that should lead to a reduction in the tax supported by second-hand vehicles. Hold on a minute. That's an upcoming budget. What have we got there? A proposal, isn't it? I mean, that's not necessarily going to be in stone until it's in stone. So hold on a minute. Don't get too excited, but it is good. It does sound like it's going in the right direction. That is actually an understatement. It will almost certainly lead to a reduction in the tax, which is why so many people in the past have complained. Stresses Negocios Online. The proposal is seen as a solution of compromise to respond to the disagreement with Brussels, where the Portuguese law is seen as discriminatory, and which, because Portugal changed nothing, led the Commission to advance with a case for non-compliance in the European Tribunal of Justice. Interesting, isn't it, how the EU works? How if a member state is behaving badly or against the law, I suppose here, it will take action like that. Very interesting. And why does it come to that? I suppose it's an internal matter, a domestic tax raising matter, isn't it? And you kind of sort of brink it out for as long as you can until you feel the weight of the law breathing down your neck. Maybe that's how it works. Should it work like that? I don't know. Nonetheless, Portugal doesn't appear to be giving up without a struggle. Here we go. Even if only to save face. Says Negocios Online. In practice, with this alteration, the government proposes a discount taking into account the useful life of a car, not the lifespan of a car. What is the difference? I wonder. It's not quite the same as the formula for the... Oh, it's losing me now. We're all glazing over, aren't we, for the cylinder? The rats are throwing themselves on the traps here with this Portugal governmental statement. Quite the same as the formula for the cylinder capacity of the vehicle, which apparently takes into account the age of the vehicle. I don't understand that, but I'm glad to see, thanks to Natasha Don here of the Portugal resident, that we may be another step closer to this thing that causes so much ire and frustration for people who want to bring vehicles into Portugal. So there you go. We're another step closer. Don't open the champagne just yet would be my recommendation there. Anna, bom dia from sunny Cascais. Good morning to you, Anna. How you doing this morning? And from Jani, bom dia todos. Doing my homework for this evening's Portuguese class. Much better with the pronunciation of my name, Carl. Phew, thank heavens for that. It's only taken me, 6 months to get the hang of Jani. She says it's better. She doesn't say it's right. But there you go. This is a cross we bear when we're learning Portuguese and or Belgian, I guess. Let me just switch over the ticker tape for you. I think you know now it's quarta-feira, dia 14 de outubro. Please try that at home. Don't just laugh at my pronunciation. Have a go yourself. Palavras do dia Ovos Moles, which gives you another clue to where we'll be going to conclude the show this morning with talk of, well, you can see on my screen there, what were egg whites traditionally used for? And no smart Alec responses there. Apologies to anyone called Alec. Not many people are called Alec these days, are they? But what were egg whites traditionally used for? The smart Alec response to that might be, of course, a white egg omelette, which some people like, don't they? Some people like to separate the eggs for an omelette, which I think is quite posh. But what traditionally were egg whites used for in Portugal? It's a clue to our final little feature this morning. Does that mean, says Ty, you can matriculate your UK cars that you have owned for only a few months without crippling tax charges? I don't know, Ty. Wait for the law to change, I would think, or pop it up on the expatsportugal.com forum. Free to do that, Ty. Ask that question there, and we can start stoking that the embers of that discussion, which, as like I say, has caused much frustration for people. So yeah, let's ask and answer that question there and speculate a little bit more until the law is clearer. Very good for the clothes of the sisters of the convents, says Anna. That's one guess. Is it right? Is it wrong? We'll find out in just a moment. To iron them and leave the clothes amazing. It sounds like Anna might still do that actually in Cascais. She sounds like she's a big fan of the egg white treatment of the garments. And I wonder, I've often wondered with this, giving the game away a little bit, what it's like in the height of summer to be wearing clothes that have been starched with egg white. That might be another one of the, as well as eucalyptus and wood smoke, the smell of clothes that have had egg white on them for a day or two. That's got to be pretty rich and ripe, hasn't it? I would have thought. Okay, more good news to share with you now. I can't put this on my screen, unfortunately, or can I? I've got my Facebook, and if I share my Facebook screen, all sorts of things. I mean, I'm not worried about for myself, but other people who are messaging me might not want to be identified. Let's give it a go anyway, shall we? We're going to be talking now about CP, Comboios Portugal. I think that's what it stands for anyway. CP, the train company, and how they have slashed their prices. Not a word I use very often, but I think it's very appropriate in this instance here. And we go to the Facebook page of Safe Communities Portugal, who have been amazing during the pandemic and continue to be so. And on a lighter note, they shared this about slashed ticket prices, civil protection, crime prevention, and cyber crime. Just some of the things they deal with, being dedicated to giving you information and a service for the international community in Portugal. That's a way of not saying expat, isn't it? Up to 80% up to 80% discount, they reveal yesterday on intercity rail travel starting on the 13th of October yesterday. An example, you can go from Faro to Lisbon for €4.50. It's cheap anyway, guys. It's a really good value, the train system here, and they're making it even better value. As of yesterday, CP Comboios de Portugal will provide approximately 12,200 trips, an average of 178 daily trips with discounts of up to 80% on intercidades trains in second class. As of today, CP Comboios de Portugal will provide approximately, that's the same paragraph repeated twice. It's such a good offer. We've done that paragraph twice there. Available tickets can be purchased at least 10 days in advance of the travel date and are valid for travel between the 22nd of October and the 31st of December. Maybe that's the kind of quiet period when the tourists have stopped traveling, when the tourists are here, when they stop traveling on the trains. Perhaps it's an effort to stoke business on the trains and to keep the economic train on the tracks. Within the scope of the new campaign, all intercidades destinations are included, with prices starting at €250 for connections between Lisbon and Évora, That's amazing. €3 for connections between Lisbon and Beja, €4 for connections between Lisboa and the cities of Coimbra or Covilhã, €4.50 for connections between Lisbon and the cities of Faro or Guarda, €5 for connections between Lisboa and Porto. That's great value, isn't it? It's almost worth having a holiday just to enjoy those. And €5.50 for connections between Lisboa and the cities of Braga, Viana do Castelo, and Guimarães. Tickets can be purchased at Ticket Office online, the CP app, which I have to say is very, very good. I use that, and other CP channels. Which station is that, folks? Which atmospheric station of Portugal is that picture? It doesn't say. And that's another wonderful part of Portugal. The trains are great. The stations are fantastic. So many beautifully photogenic and culturally important railway stations all around the country. I love taking photos of Portuguese railway stations. Amazing discounts. Thank you, CP. Thank you, Safe Communities Portugal, for that. Isn't that great news? I'm going to have another sip of my tea now while you talk among yourselves for a moment. Delightful. Right. Does anyone know, says Jacqueline, if the railway caters for disabled people, i.e. scooters or wheelchairs? I believe it does, Jacqueline. And that I saw, the heavy lifting gear. I was thinking, what is that for? When I was standing at Coimbra B the other day, early in the morning, when I was off to Lisboa last Monday. Was it last Monday? Anyway, recently, time flies, doesn't it? Recently at Coimbra B, and I saw this thing, which I think must have been a way of getting people in wheelchairs or scooters or mobility aids of any kind, or people who just struggle a bit with those massive steps. If I've got one criticism of Portuguese railways, it's the rolling stock steps. You have to make an ascent into the train, particularly on the regional trains. And it's difficult when we go out with our pram, not for me, for the kids, that you have to really do some serious lifting to get it up. And it's a bit stressful. When a train comes in, you get 3 kids on, including a pram. I find that a bit stressful. So, yes, I believe the guard, every train I've ever been on in Portugal has had a guard on it. So you will get assistance. And I saw at that principal station of Coimbra a very impressive piece of engineering, which I believe to be used for getting wheelchairs onto the train. So I would say yes, I would check also with CP on that. But perhaps we should take a look into that. Peggy! Prosecco Peggy is here, everybody. Hi, Carl. Better late than never. Absolutely lovely to have your company this morning, Peggy. How are you? How's that new kitchen of yours? And more coming in about egg whites, which we need to talk about now, don't we? But lovely to see you here, Peggy, this morning. Where you been? And Jacqueline says, I was made an egg white omelette yesterday, Indian style. It was delicious. You see, people do this. It's like a vestige of the Raj, isn't it? To be, and she says that I did. It's not like she says I made an egg white omelette. I was made an egg white omelette. That's even posher to have someone do it for you, to have your own short order chef in the house with you. Very good, Donna Jacqueline, but no less than you deserve, I have to say. And then they have a lot of egg yellow, the yolk, don't know the name, and made lots of desserts. Absolutely right. Nailed it there, Anna. That is where we're going to go now after we've looked at the comments here. Thane, egg whites are a key ingredient in Molotov, similar to a Mexican or Spanish flan. I'm only familiar with the Molotov cocktail, which shouldn't be taken internally. Egg white's a key ingredient of Molotov, similar to a Mexican or Spanish flan. Okay, it was, that must have been an amazing moment for human beings. I guess the first moment was when they discovered they could eat chicken eggs at all. Can you imagine in prehistoric times, a grunting sort of Neanderthal type character going to a chicken's nest and then breaking it open and seeing it. And then obviously the next thing a human being does is think, can I eat that? And then they eat it. And then the next great moment for eggs was thinking, maybe if I separate the two bits, I can make different things. And maybe I can starch my clothes with the white. But thank you for that, Thane, for your reference to Mexican and Spanish flan, the Molotov there. Very good. I feel a train trip coming on, a day out for GMP folk, Porto Lisboa. Great idea. A field trip for the GMP people to meet up and take advantage of these really good train prices. And yeah, for anyone with a tight budget, as I know some of you retiring expats are, not shy in retiring, obviously, but retired As I was thinking about that word yesterday. Does being retired mean that you were tired and you're tired again? Is that what it means after a long, hard career or something like that? Why do we use the word retired? Jacqueline is asking me, but yes, Ty, I'm up for that. Do the kids push you in the pram? They would love to, Jacqueline. I'm not going to take that risk anywhere near a railway line with my lot. Peggy, I make meringue. There we go. Yeah, meringue, obviously with egg whites for fabulous lemon meringue pie. Well, this is what we need to do. This plan is coming together. It's like the A team. We need to get on a train and head down to Faro and go and eat lemon meringue pie with Peggy, I think, as a nice field trip. You don't mind that, dear Peggy? You've got all the new kit in your kitchen, I'm sure, for that. Bon dia, Carl. You need to try Molotov dessert, and normally they have Ovos Moles on top. That is very eggy. No, thank you very much for that suggestion. We'll do that on our trip out as well. With the whites, we can make farofias, a very good Portuguese dessert. Okay, so normally we're used to the yolk being used because the nuns, of course, had the white in their clothes. And I think the monks had something to do with that as well. I stopped sniggering at the back. And I'm going to tell you now then about a couple of recipes that mention this tradition of using egg whites and what is done with the egg yolk. So let's go first should we go to Belém? Obviously, if you're talking about pastéis de nata, you will be talking about Belém, won't you? And actually, no, I've got wrong. I'm going to stay with this though. We'll go with Ovos Moles first because I think the pastéis de nata are more popular, as it turns out, better known and more popular. So we'll stick with the Ovos Moles, which if you've ever been to Aveiro, you'll see Ovos Moles. And the origin of the soft eggs. This is a translation, of course. And have I put that on the screen already? I have, haven't I? Ovos Moles means soft egg, literally. And that's why it is our word of the day. Let me take away that distracting background there. Carl, come on. Need a better production. One day I'll have a team. Maybe. Okay, let's go back to the Ovos Moles. The origin of the soft eggs of Aveiro, the Ovos Moles of Aveiro, date from look, isn't it terrible when you have to take a run up and suddenly stop looking at Roman numerals because you've got to figure it out? 10, 5, 16th century, until the creation of the city, long before the creation of Aveiro. The 16th century is when the Ovos Moles date back to. One of the legends says it was created by a nun of the monastery of Jesus who fasted. She was fasted as a punishment by the Mother Superior. Wow. Hold on, just a quick sip of tea here. Remember to unmute. Didn't do that the other night, but that was probably the wine. Tired of fasting, the nun began to pick up the egg yolks and mix them with sugar in order not to be caught in the act. It sounds like Maria, isn't it? How do you solve a problem like Maria, the naughty nun who invented Ovos Moles? Good ending to the story. In order not to be caught in the act, she hid the candy next to the hosts. What does that mean, the holy hosts? When the candy was finally discovered in the convent, it was shouted, "Miracle!" Oh, I see. Very good. For such a delicious candy must be God's work. We've got to... That's the other thing we need to do. We need to start making Good Morning Portugal's little vignette productions. I would love to see the comedic dramatization of this particular scene. Any offers from the actors, directors, or producers of the Good Morning Portugal community this morning? There is also another story that tells us that it was common at the time for people to give religious to chickens. I don't know what that means. I'm lost in translation there. But let's say that chickens were given as gifts to the monasteries, presumably. Egg whites were used. There we go. Anna was absolutely right. Egg whites were used to iron clothes. And since there was no use for the gems, which are, is that what Portuguese call yolks? The gems. That's lovely. Which had a very short shelf life. It was discovered that by adding sugar to them, their shelf life increased considerably. As do most things when you add sugar to them, with the notable exception of human beings. The recipe for soft eggs was then passed by word of mouth and continued until today, thanks to the women who were taught by the nuns of the various convents in the region. And confectionery Paijinho is one of the most traditional houses in the manufacture of this candy, which kept the original recipe used by nuns centuries ago. And when I first heard of, look, there's some pictures of Ovos Moles in production there. When I first heard of Ovos Moles, I thought that meant in Portuguese nuns' eggs, which wouldn't be quite right, really, would it? But you can see they come in these lovely shapes. If I click on that, yeah, you get the former of the, oh, it's a little video, a slideshow of various things going on with Ovos Moles. Oh, look at that. Amazing. A lot of yolks there. A lot of yolks. Do you Portuguese people, let us know, please, Anna, do you call the, oh, I can't turn it off now. I can. Do you call the yolks gems in Portuguese? Because that would be lovely. Traditionally, the soft eggs of Aveiro are the Ovos Moles are sold in wooden barrels painted outwards with the traditional Moliceiras boats and other drawings that refer to the Rio de Aveiro. You've got to go. Stick that on your list. If you haven't been to Aveiro yet, you've got to go there. The Venice and the Chicago of Portugal. Most commonly, they are wrapped in wafers shaped like shells, fish, shells, and other shells twice, and other marine objects which refer to the traditional images of the region. Absolutely, as we can see there. Those lovely shapes. And it's like rice paper, if you haven't had that already. And for those people a little bit squeamish about eating very eggy things, this is not something you want to eat. It's very eggy, very yolky. I am not yoking. So, okay, that's brilliant. That's Ovos Moles. Thank you very much to Confeiteira Pajinho, a traditional dating back to 1856, who gave us the detail there, the backstory to the Ovos Moles. And let us now, if you've not got any other comments, yeah, we do have other comments, don't we? Let's see. We can make the, yes, well, I need to look into that, Anna. Thank you for that. We need to the farofias. Can you say more about that? Sounds interesting. Neil, I can understand the first person to eat an egg, but what but what urged the first person ever to eat an oyster? Hunger, I suspect, Neil. I love oysters, I've got to say. But yeah, I mean, I think this is another thing I was talking to Mrs. M about the other day. I had some prawns. Bought some prawns. I have had a worry. I had these dizzy spells in the last year or so, like debilitating dizzy spells. The only time I think when I haven't done the show, I had one of these spells, and I can't stand up. It feels like it comes from nowhere. I think it was probably exhaustion and stress and stuff in the early days of just before coming to Portugal and in the early days of being here. Couldn't stand up, dizzy, and it suddenly occurred to me, and not in a good way because I love prawns. That it might be seafood or prawns specifically that did it. So I decided a very high risk strategy on Sunday to eat some prawns to see if it would happen, and it wasn't them, I'm glad to say. But yeah, this must be the gauntlet that those hungry ancestors of ours must have had to run. And I do think possibly though that they were these sort of, the person I referred to earlier on, these sort of Neanderthal families would have been a little bit more in touch with nature, right? So they would have had a sense of things that were good and not good to eat, more so than we do now, because they didn't go up to an oyster in the estuary from where we originated, and there wasn't a sell-by date on the shell, was there? Like there is now. I mean, not on the shell, but we've put our faith and trust and instinct about food in the hands of other people, haven't we? I mean, we've got our own noses, and some people still trust their hooters for that, but a lot of people just go completely by what it says on the carton. And that can be disastrous in its own way, can't it? Like it's just someone's guess, basically, according to legislation and packaging and stuff like that. But I think, we do have this love of seafood and river food because that's where we came from. In our bones and instincts, I think we can feel that. And I think, the first person to eat an oyster probably was very hungry, for one thing, but could probably sense. It would have been a lot cleaner maybe in those days. Food's pretty dirty these days, isn't it? With all our pollution and stuff. So I'm thinking our early ancestors. I'm making all this up. I'm very happy for this to be called fake news or rubbish because I'm just interested in your question there. And I'm speculating as to what might have been behind it. But Neil says they must have been very hungry. I'll say very hungry there. And obviously not an oyster fan. Oysters, great value in Portugal, I have to say, along with so many other wonderful things that we enjoy here. And from prawns to pomegranates, I see in the comments. Peggy says, yeah, loads of room here since family and friends in the US. Oh, I guess, without your US visitors, Peggy, you've got room for us to come and visit you and eat lemon meringue pie with you. Can't wait. Lovely weather, lovely food, lovely company. Good morning, Shelley. I've always wondered why we are considered retired. Yeah, what is that about? In French, à la retraite, on retreat. In Portuguese, reformada, remade, much better concept. So I think maybe we could claim that. And we're here in Portugal. Should we call ourselves the remakers, the retired amongst us? Remaking, your life, remaking yourself possibly in those years of your life. Fantastic. Thank you for that, Shelley. Very good. À la retrait for France and Reformada, remade here in Portugal. We still don't know, do we, why it's called retired? Unless it's like an American thing where, you get a new set of tires, after you finish work to go out on your adventures. I don't think that's it. That's a poor explanation. Thane, easy Portuguese recipes. Oh, look at that. Molotov flan, pudim, molotov. That's in the comments for you if you want to try it. We call the yellow part the gema, which I'm guessing must be related to the word gem, right? And so it is, as we've discovered with our love of Portuguese pastries. Thank you, Anna, for that. Very educational, the show this morning. Absolutely wonderful. And pomegranates on 3 trees, ready to pick. We can make healthy drinks and enjoy the sun here in the beautiful Algarve. This plan is definitely coming together. The visit to Peggy's. No excuses with the cheap train prices. Awesome. Thanks, Peggy. And I think Anna's got a recipe for us as well there, perhaps for the thing to be made with egg whites. So there you go, folks. Really grateful for all your chat and comment. Happy birthday to Ferry. Happy birthday to come for Justin this weekend. I think I've covered everything this morning. So much to get in for you each morning. And of course, join us tonight. Fipe, Phil is back. Canadian Phil is doing another CSI mystery, unsolved cases reopened by Fipe Phil, Canadian Phil. And we will take a leisurely, laid back look through one of his wonderful stories tonight on the Portugal show from 10 o'clock. So do join us for that. Transatlantic style. We answer a few questions from transatlantic folk who can bear to be up. I think Xander might have dropped off since I asked her the question, what time is it over there in Texas? Early hours of the morning. So sweet dreams. Let's talk quietly so we don't wake her up. But I love oysters and they are good in Portugal, and you can buy them in the center of Portugal, or can you buy them in the center of Portugal or only by the sea? I think because people love oysters so much here, Jenny, they are available, certainly. I mean, in Lisbon, for sure. I mean, yeah, I guess that's near the sea, isn't it? But I'm sure I've seen, yes, I have. I've lived in central Portugal, and in the supermarkets, I have seen oysters. And, people would understandably say, oh, you don't want to eat oysters in hot weather in central Portugal. That's a recipe for disaster. I am living proof. I survived that. 3:45 a.m. We have kept her awake with or I've kept her awake with all my chuntering here. 3:45 a.m. Good effort, Xander. Feel privileged to have your company at that time of the morning. Fariofash, we cook the egg white in milk. Wow. And then go into the oven, a forno, make a kind of sauce with the yellow part and serve it with cinnamon. Now, that last bit doesn't surprise me. Cinnamon, I believe, aren't all children born in Portugal given their first pot of cinnamon absolutely free to start them off in life? Or is that another bit of fake news? Love oysters, says Neil. They are just not the prettiest looking culinary delight I've ever seen. It's true, isn't it? I guess, yeah. When you do, it's like so many things, isn't it? If you show these things, if you show cabbage or coffee or oysters to a child, they will say, nope, you're all right. You have it. So I totally get where you're coming from. I'm glad to hear that you love oysters, Neil. And do you get them in the Alentejo, to answer Jenny's question? Big day for me today, getting the other hip replaced. Wow. Well, lots of love from the Good Morning Portugal, expatsportugal.com communities to you, Xander. Wow. I mean, that's just slipped into the conversation. Big day for me getting the other hip replaced. Well, yes, lots of love. All the best with that procedure. And we'll see you on the other side of that. So do let us know how it goes. And we look forward to your company again. Thane is also, this is crazy. Thane is also in Texas with a 2-minute difference. Texas is such a big state that there's even a 2-minute difference between people. That's amazing. Again, more fake news there. I hope people could tell. Oh, there was another bit of news. Oh, look, it's 9:45. Very quickly, I've got to share some news just in. This is quite extraordinary. I'm going to share this with you now. Let me see if. Oh, yes, and an extraordinary development. Yes, just a final piece of news, just in, hot in. Hold the front page. Expat is new EU commissioner, we've just discovered. This from Paul Tugal, which will tell you something about the story. And an extraordinary development, Portugal resident and expat Steve Green has been appointed to the top post of EU Trade Commissioner, leading on trade negotiations between Britain and the EU. Speaking yesterday, the EU's Michel Barnier said, "We know this is a very unusual appointment. But Steve really impressed us during the interview process. He obviously put his 30 years working at the DIY store in Walsall to good use. I won't keep doing that. And since then, he's refined his thinking about the intricacies of international trade by spending most of his evenings drinking white wine outside Stan's bar in Portimao and telling everyone what's wrong with the world and how he put it right." Barnier continued, "We're particularly impressed by how when someone disagrees with Steve, he continues talking, only more loudly, completely ignoring the other person's perspective. This will come in really handy in the trade talks. We asked Steve about this new role, and he said, I've said for years that politicians don't know what they're doing. I'll have trade talks sorted in days, and after that, it'll all be about Corona and this vaccine I'm working on. We wish Steve all the best in his new role, and we also send our best wishes to all those who will be working with him." Thank you to you, Paul Tugal of Portugal's Spoof News in English. Take care, everybody, and bye for now. See you tonight or tomorrow morning. Ciao, ciao.